Hey,
Hello, Maverick.
how's it going?
Not too bad. Thanks for coming to me for coaching.
No problem.
And
I wanted to start off with d.va,
of
and
course,
then probably work towards Zarya later.
so something right there. Doomfist is a great target to focus on because he's big and squishy, but not a good target to commit to because of how mobile he is. So I would have hung back, not necessarily boosted towards him, but just focused your main DPS on him, so your left click, and maintained a more neutral position with your team. What you're doing here, though, is exactly what I'd be doing, getting an angle and just throwing in DPS as much as possible. Yeah, good job coming out of there. If you had committed all the way in there, I would have had to... Well, I would have advised against that. You're managing Discord nicely, which is good. As much as possible, you want to try and keep it above 50% when you're just blocking normal damage. Nice engagement and kill on that Lucio. I wouldn't have gone all the way through him, though. I would have done as much damage as possible, stopping in front, and then backed up to a more secure location. Something to keep in mind when using your boost as d.va is you always want to cancel it as early as possible.
A good spot to.
Obviously, so you get it off cooldown as fast as possible.
Launch hole. There.
Right idea, diving the Mercy, but when she has her Valkyrie active, your damage there is not going to be nearly as effective. Instead, you're better off doing what you're kind of doing now, which is just picking off the squishy targets. You can easily out DPS Mercy's healing, but you can't easily out DPS her self-heal because of how mobile she can be, unless your teammates are focusing her as well. But even then, you're better off just focusing down the individual targets on the point. Overall, your mechanics are really solid, so not much to worry about there. The main thing I'd recommend keeping an eye on are your timings and when you decide to push in versus how quickly you back out. There have been a couple times where you've lost mech kind of unnecessarily just by being a little too aggressive. And don't get me wrong, I like aggressive gameplay. So it's not so much a criticism, it's just something I want you to be cognizant of going forward. So right now you are nowhere with your team. And for a lot of this first engagement, you kind of went off on your own. And your team in the meantime got manhandled. So especially on first points and or first attacks and engagements, you want to make sure that you're in with your team so that you can deal with people throwing damage from an angle. You can deal with people who are caught off. You don't want to be the one diving the bulk of their team like you did at the beginning. Alright, still an even fight. So right there when you kind of boosted into them and just kind of zigzagged around, I would not have recommended you do that. It's always better to cancel your boost after hitting an initial damage on a couple of targets and then switch to just full-on tracking and DPS mode from in the fight. You'll do a lot more damage per, well, a lot more DPS that way than you will trying to move around.
I'm gonna engage this guy here.
So diving onto targets that are above you is a lot harder to do with d.va because you won't be able to get line of sight on them with your rockets from the beginning. You want to do that from above angles, so you want to come down onto people, or at least on even ground with them, so you can start hitting them from the moment you start your engagement. You don't want them to see you coming and then be able to prepare a flashbang.
Okay, so then for McCree specifically in that moment, should I just
don't dive him
above him?
No, because he can still flashbang you or just lay in shots to you. I wouldn't have bothered there. Just stay with your team and continue moving. Now, if he continues to be a problem, the way you should go into it is with Matrix, and instead of trying to do damage immediately, just disrupt and force him back. We'll worry about that if the situation comes up again, but for now, your goal should be just regrouping. I would just try and play with your team at the moment, and look for opportunities where someone may be out of position. Like oftentimes a Junkrat will just be kind of hiding behind an Orisa shield, or right here. Yep. So whichever target you start on, you either commit or you get out, because if you switch like that, you no longer have your burst damage, and you're at a severe disadvantage.
So I should just chase that Mercy the whole way through?
Ideally, no. You would have gone for the Junkrat, because even if someone's being healed, I have out DPS'd both a soldier in his healing pad at full health with Mercy pocketing him, just going in with rockets and left click. So you always want to go for, in that case, the DPS, because Mercy can fly away much more quickly unless you get the jump on the Mercy. Again, though, diving people who are on a high ground position, never good, or well, never easy.
Right.
So I would maybe, I like your idea though, getting the high ground, but rather than committing the all your abilities to it, so miss rockets and everything, get up there and just try and do put in some left clicks and use Matrix then to drop yourself down safely. Or if there is just someone up there on their own, go ahead then and lay in damage. Yeah, that's not a good place to be, so I just back out.
After this, Orisa puts down another shield.
That's unlucky. Yeah, got hung up on the little lip there. So one thing I want you to try now, just go to the left. Ignore the main area here. Just when I ask you to reposition, unless I specifically say use boost, that's you needed boost to move quickly from there. Instead, you boosted over there. As much as possible, you want to use boost only for key engagements and disengagements, not for just general movement, unless you know you'll have it up in time. So just peek out here, see if you can. So you know that the McCree and Mercy are in the back there. Theoretically, this Junkrat could be a. Well, no, he's backed out too easily. Their Widow would be an easy pick if you could get around there, but you're too low now.
Yeah, I was gonna go for the Widow, but
okay.
But nah, I'd probably just go up and around him.
Go for my ground. This is perfect. Pick out a target, whoever it is, and rockets, boost, and left click. Just go for it. Whoever it is, just go. There you go. So I would have actually probably just so with perfect tracking, you would have killed that Mercy there. So that's a good idea. But considering imperfect tracking, which is 99% of us, even just going for the Orisa and laying in a huge amount of damage to her, or the Junkrat, who was in a more vulnerable position down below, would have been a good idea. So try that again real quick here. Just go up top, and we'll try that engagement again. So wait, of course, until your boost comes back up. I would not have used your missiles right there. You needed that for burst damage on a target. So go ahead, start peeking out, see who you got to target. That's good. That's good. So there's the. I would look at the McCree on the right. Okay, well he's down. That's who I would have immediately boosted from high ground on. That was a good block there. Good awareness. Not sure what the Matrix was for there. You could have finished off the Mercy. It's alright, everyone makes those mistakes. Nice idea there, it's exactly what I would have done. At the very least, it zones them off. There we go.